Well, Snow, we figured we'd sit down and do a podcast because, you're kind of coming, a little social media darling, coming an influencer.
What I've always wanted.
Oh, man, these protests every weekend.
I know. I'm loving it, though, because you know how I love protesting. I love the whole...
Oh, you get into it.
I like walking around with my signs. I like the chanting part. I like everything about it.
Yeah. And...
it's our First Amendment. Why would I not love it?
You'll be able to find this on our socials, TikTok, Reality Redemption on Instagram, the Reality Redemption podcast on Facebook, Reality Redemption on Threads to follow along with our social media, because there is a little bit of a visual element to some of the things that we do. And we'll go back to last week and what had happened there at the protest when the guy came after you. Yeah, there's a little. I may have edited a little Jaws music to that clip. Yeah, and that got a little bit of attention. And even on our side, we got chastised a little bit for...
Which I'm still...
engaging.
Mad about. I guess that's the nicest way to say it. I'm still pissed off about.
Yeah.
Mad at our side.
Yeah.
I'm like... I don't like that they chose to put it on social media and sit there and say, this happened at the protest today, and even some of our own side decided to take the bait and engage and blah, blah, blah. Look, I feel like if I'm going to describe myself right now, I feel like I'm no more Mrs. Nice liberal, okay? I'm not ready to make nice.
You're not ready to back down?
No, I'm not. I'm not willing to back down. I won't back down.
Still mad as hell and blah blah blah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
not ready to make nice.
Yeah, I'm not ready to do that right now. I'm still in my angry phase of the stages of grief, right? like I'm still in that part very much so. The thing that pisses me off about our side doing it is, why don't you let us just do what we do? Why? I don't want you to tell me what to do.
Right.
Why, mind your own damn business then. Take that advice from our side, All
right, so to describe it a little bit, at the 50501 protests last week, there was a guy that was very aggressive on that side, and he started approaching us. Some reason they have a real obsession about pedophiles and genitalia. I mean, they're obsessed with pedophiles and genitalia on that side.
Yeah, and he came walking through the crowd, like he walked through all of us, walking through people, threatening to punch people, like doing the thing where, like the flinch thing or whatever, doing that. Yeah. What are we supposed to do? I feel like I'm allowed to say, I feel like, I'm sorry, but I'm one of those people, he's coming through telling us, fuck you and all this stuff. I'm going to say it back, because that caveman mentality of his, it's not going, and it's bully behavior too.
Right.
You don't win against bullies. I can say this as someone who was severely verbally bullied as a child. If you sit there and do nothing and try to ignore them, that doesn't work.
Yeah. And two points to that, okay? If you turn your back to them, they think that they got you because you're scared.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, the number one thing that I have heard at protests, especially in hostile areas, you do not turn your back to them. You keep an eye out on what they may do.
Right. You keep your eyes on you, and you stand your ground.
Stand your ground.
I mean, that's what I was doing, and I chose to. I'm like, all right, these people, they're sitting there doing the pedo thing, right, and genitalia. They're obviously in the QAnon cult, all right. They're that sect of Trump supporters where they're in the QAnon thing, so they believe all the ridiculous shit. There's no point in trying to have a reasonable conversation with this person. So it's like, he's all about caveman mentality. That's why I was like screaming back, fuck you back to him, because it's like they don't understand anything else.
Well, they don't even want you to have a conversation with them. Look at what happened to me 2 weeks prior. Yeah. I got chastised for having a conversation with one of them.
Right. And they don't even want that. They'll sit there and like fake like they want that. I think the only reason they do that is they're trying to get in there and make you mad enough to react to them or whatever. So then they can turn around and play victim, and they can do their victim mentality,
right?
Which they're also very good at.
Which the one
turning themselves into, I look at what they did to me.
Which the one girl did. She would get up in people's faces, be, don't touch me, don't touch me.
Right.
Because if you touched her, she would fall down and be like, look at what they did. Assault.
Yeah, she also, the one from the previous one, she was also very triggered by, because I was like pointing at her and she's like, don't point at me. Like, it's like she turned that into she's the victim. You know, you're even attacking me by pointing and yelling things at me. Yeah. You know, like what?
So, yeah, and you can see yourself, like I said, you can find these videos on our social medias, you know, and see them yourself. So, you came up with a brilliant plan today, though.
Well, Halloween is my favorite holiday.
Right.
Any chance to dress up in costume, it really. But, I mean, this one was a costume with a purpose. So, I went as Lady Liberty, Statue of Liberty, and I wore chains on myself, too, and a sign that said, sorry, we're closed.
In a very... how do you say the area that you put the sign over?
It was kind of on my stomach because I wanted them to be able to see it like I was trying to judge it. It wasn't on my privates. Is that what you were thinking? Like, I don't think. Some of it might have went in there, but like I was just trying to put it on there so it was like, you know, when I held my sign up, they could see it, and also the chains wouldn't be hanging over it. So I had to kind of do it in that manner.
Right. And so today's protest was because the guy who's going to be running against Chris Mays, Ron Glassman, for the Republicans, was doing a breakfast at Mr. D's downtown, which is right across from the train park here in Kingman. And Paul Gosar was supposed to be there, but for some reason I don't think he showed up, as far as I know, because we didn't see him.
I have a question about that real quick. Do you think that he purposely came to Kingman to like feel better about his campaign? Because it's like, dude, you're already going to win this area. I mean... Well, all they have to do is look for the R behind somebody's name here, and they're going to vote for that. Like, we're so far outnumbered. Let's tell our listeners, you know, like we're in the reddest county of the state of Arizona, and our Republican to Democrat ratio is like 75% Republican to like 25% Dem. You know. Actually, it's a little less because you have like the 1% that's like independents or, you know, fall into that category. But when they vote in elections, you know.
Right. And, you know, to be completely honest, though, I've been impressed by the turnouts we've had every time.
Yeah. Like, I didn't know there would be this many folks here today at this one.
I think there was about 3 dozen.
Yeah, because a lot of people said that they weren't going to be able to make this weekend. They told us that last weekend.
Yeah.
So, because there was a lot of our usual friends too that I didn't see, but there were new people that I saw that I hadn't seen before today also.
Yeah.
So that's good.
And I think even if you maybe follow Ron Glassman's social media, I'm not sure what he's on.
I think it's Rodney.
Rodney Glassman?
Yeah, I think it's Rodney Glassman.
Rodney Glassman? Okay. Make sure you get that. Okay, Glassman running for Attorney General. But yeah, they came out to make sure that they got a photo up,
Yeah, they liked our setup, I think.
Yeah.
I hope, I'm just fingers crossed that they got the costume in there, okay?
And to be fair, it looked like they were having fun with it too.
Right, yeah.
And so there's that. So another weekend, another protest. Can you believe we're just nearing 100 days? It feels like 100 years that he's been in office again.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like every day is just like a beat down.
Like I said, I mean, the one thing I can actually give Trump credit for, though, is that you are really teaching me how to learn how to live in the present, which is important. It's important to not live in the future
day
or the
by
past,
day.
Right? But yes, every day when I wake up, I'm like, we're still here. The nukes haven't been launched.
Living in the moment. Here.
Yeah.
Living in the moment.
Living in the moment.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot. Because of our antics the last few weeks, they did have to write a set of rules to follow at their protests. Shall we read?
At our protests.
At
left-leaning protests.
I'm assuming the Mojave County Democrats who have been doing this put out this, and they have a sign-in sheet, make you put down your name and your phone number to say that you attended. But now there's a checkbox like, do you agree to follow by the rules? Now, I purposely did not check that box. You had to be better. What was your idea?
Well, I didn't even sign the paper at all to say that I was there, because if I would have seen that, I would have put a little arrow by that box, and then I would have wrote, I dissent. Yeah. Just like RBG, yeah. I dissent. This is bullshit.
Because we don't like being silenced. Playing nice never wins on it. And what did John Lewis teach us? If there's one thing John Lewis taught us, what is that?
Get into good trouble.
Good trouble.
Good trouble.
Because complying is not going to work.
Right. And what we were doing, we were using our voices. We were not about any sort of violence. I'm vehemently against that. You know that about me as a person anyways. I'm like, you should be allowed to say whatever you want, but there should be a line drawn. No hands. Keep your hands to yourself. You should not put your hands on someone else.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Okay, so let's start off. Respect and follow the support team member suggestions, directives, and guidelines. Directives. Okay, keyword there. Directives.
Kind of sounds like a dictatorship to me.
Okay. These are present to keep the rally or demonstration civil and peaceful.
How is it not? This is my argument with that. How is it not still peaceful and we're allowed to say what we want to say?
Right.
Like, what? Words are not weapons.
And to be fair,
we're allowed to say fuck you to someone who's getting in people's faces. I'm sorry. Yeah. You can say fuck you and fuck off to them. I'm never going to think that is not okay.
Yeah. Okay, so training support teams will be at this rally. Okay, all right, fine. Weapons are not allowed at rallies, demonstrations. What about our Second Amendment right? Now, that one I think was directed at someone else that we know. Leave all weapons either at home or locked in your car. I mean, that one. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but why didn't they place these rules and throw a huge fit with the BLM protests then? Because we had people there who were armed.
Right.
That were
the militia.
The militia folks were there to make sure everything went okay and didn't get out of hand.
And they were there to protect us.
And I didn't have a problem with them. But if you feel like you need to bring your weapon here, I don't care if you have your weapon in a holster. The only time I start freaking out is if you have it in your hand and you're pointing it at people. Okay?
Yeah.
Then, yeah, people are going to have a problem with it. So our friend was wearing a weapon concealed. So what's the problem?
Yeah.
This person did not take it out. This person did not put it in their hand. This person did not make any... It was hidden and most people didn't know.
Our other friend had it on her hip at the previous rally.
And big deal. Was it in a holster?
Yes.
Okay, then what... Second Amendment rights.
Okay.
We live in a state that you're allowed to do concealed carry or you're allowed to do wearing it on your person. So
look, it's Snow and MJ defending the Second Amendment.
You guys are making us get all conservative now. I mean,
okay. Make sure your signs and rhetoric are family friendly. Okay, I think everything on the signs that I saw was pretty family friendly. I didn't see anything other than the little confrontation. There was no language.
How many?
When they would drive by and say "fuck you," you would yell out, "You're not my type."
I know. I wasn't saying graphic things back. The only time I resorted to using vulgar words was when we had a anti-protester literally walking through us, threatening to punch people, threatening personal violence on people, and invading people's personal space. And then you want me to sit there and try to play nice with that? No. You got to bite back. I'm sorry. I've dealt with bullies. I'm sorry none of you have been bullied. To extremes.
Okay, this one. The best way we can best support the cause is by remembering to express concern for the issues, not a particular person. Isn't that hypocritical? Because a lot of signs were anti-Trump, anti-Doge. Aren't they? Isn't that a particular person, entity, or Elon?
Hey, you sound very contradictory, right? Like Green Day says, you're a walking contradiction with that one. I mean, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
At all. And I bet you whoever wrote this has signs saying stuff against either of the two of them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And even the guy who interrupted us, we weren't really, I don't know. I mean, were we expressing concern towards him? Were we singling him out? I don't know. Don't get that one. Counter-protesters also have a right to free speech. Yes.
No shit.
Okay. Do not get into arguments. Now, this, I think we had a lot at the previous one, the one from about 3 weeks ago. I think we had some funny things that we were going back and forth about. Like when the guy was just like, I got my Social Security check, and I yelled back, how do you like that socialism?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a good response to that. Is that in their eyes arguing?
I know. How is voicing your opinion arguing? Isn't arguing like more of a heated thing? It's like they were at the first one, they were trying to shut people down like you started opening your mouth and like trying to say something and they're like, don't engage. Right. And it's like, you don't even know what I'm going to say.
And when do I ever actually speak up at these things? Never.
And you were trying to make a joke. You were trying to make it funny. You're like, well, wait a second. Isn't that socialism? You said you got your Social Security check. Sounds like socialism to me.
Yeah. Okay.
Pointing out the obvious. You were just being Captain Obvious.
Yeah. Do not engage verbally or physically.
We're against physical violence.
I did not engage with that guy. I let him get up to, he could have knocked my fucking block off.
And you thought that, right? Because you were like, okay, I'm preparing myself for getting punched in the face right now. I'm just going to, all right, this is it. I'm going down.
Yeah. Staring down the face of danger once again.
Like, yeah. And was there anyone there that touched either side? Was there?
No.
Did the counter protesters touch us? Did we touch them? No.
No, and I think the one guy who did come after us touched one of the guy's signs, but the police asked if they wanted to file a charge, and the guy said no. And they asked me. I said no. There's nothing you can get him on. He didn't actually touch me.
Right.
So.
Yeah, even if somebody like slapped my sign down, I'm not going to press charges on them for that, you know? I'm going to have the cop be like, I'd have the cop say, hey, you need to tell this idiot that they should keep their hands to themselves. Now, however, if they touched my body, my person, yeah, then I'm pressing charges on you. Then I would. I mean, if you violate me, my body, my vessel, yeah, then you're getting charges pressed.
Yeah. Remember to keep the sidewalks open. This is a city ordinance. The police did show up today because somebody had hung an American flag upside down off of a streetlight pole, which you're not supposed to attach.
Right. I don't think they didn't have a problem with how the flag was being displayed because, I mean, we have the right to fly the flag upside down in times of distress. Yeah. Okay. So they had every right to do that at the protest. They just weren't allowed to have it attached to the pole, which is fine. You know? Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
And they moved it. They moved it over and they put it elsewhere.
Yeah. This is a nonpartisan gathering. Please respect people from differing political views that may be present. Welcome them. I mean, I don't think anybody has a problem with that. I think we do for the most part. Mm-hmm. Isn't that also a contradiction, though, to the previous one when I was talking to the gentleman? Please respect that people from differing political views may be present. So wasn't I doing that by talking to him, going, hey, what's your point? Hey, let me hear your story. And someone tried to shut that conversation down.
And it's like, you know what? Like, I just feel like saying to them, you're not the boss of me. Like, you know, like straight up, like, if you're going to come up with these dumb fucking rules, you're not the boss of me.
Yeah.
Like, look, unless I'm being extremely out of line, and if you're worried about having to be attached to me or what I am doing, look, if it came down to a situation where the cops were called and people were getting arrested, and I ended up getting arrested for being unruly, I don't know how I'd get arrested because I'm not going to participate in any sort of violence. But let's just say hypothetically, I'd be like, please, this is all on me. These folks have nothing to do with it. I would be that person. So is that what they're worried about? They're like, we don't want to get associated. We don't want to be guilt by association. If that's the thing, then it's like, all right, I'm responsible for myself. I'll sign a waiver.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you know, this one you could take multiple ways, and I'm going to give you my take on the last one here.
Okay.
Remember to pick up trash on the way out. Now, if you had seen this video, there's no way I could have picked that guy up.
Not with your bad back.
No. But also, that would have been assault. So I would have been breaking another rule by picking up the trash. And you would have had to have
touched him. Yeah, you can't put your hands on somebody.
Yeah. So how are you supposed to pick up the trash?
I don't know.
And we do. I have not seen that problem for every time I've gone to these things. They're very respectable. And we actually leave the place better looking than when we arrive.
Aren't we the party that gives a shit about the earth? Like, I don't think we're sitting there littering and whatnot. I mean, that's just, I don't want to sit there and say, I don't want to be like our side, right? Attacking us. So I don't want to, I've said my piece. I've said the things I want to say. We've made our jokes about that. It's like, you have every right to write those things and say those things, but I have every right to also be me and voice my opinions and my resistance and whatnot.
So now we're violating the First and Second Amendment by these rules.
Yeah, but guess what? To whoever wrote the rules, I'm not going to attack you. You have every right to feel your feelings on that, but you're not going to silence us either. And you can look at it as like, okay, you're still united with me because we are. Shit, I feel like I'm united with the Trump folks, even though they don't know it, because it's like, you don't have $1 billion, dummy. You are not part of their real concern. Actually, you and me are on the same side. I know you don't know that, but pretty soon you're going to find out, because you already fucked around. So you're going to be finding, you're in the finding out stage. Okay.
Yeah. So participation in this nonpartisan rally indicates your agreement to abide by these guidelines. You know what I think about that?
I'm still going to go.
This is what I think about your agreement. Tell us what we can do.
I know. And can I just do a shout out? Because one of our very good friends and friend of the podcast, she's been on our podcast before. Heather was there. And Heather said that she's planning something coming up for around 4th of July. And she's also doing the one for women, right?
Yeah.
What's the name of that one again? Because I don't want to get it wrong.
Kingman Federation for Women.
Okay.
Kingman Federation for Democratic Women.
Okay, and she told us that we can do whatever we want. She has no problem with us saying whatever we want. So, huge shout out. Thank you, Heather.
Do what we want.
Thank you. Yeah, whatever. I do what I want.
Speaking of being friendly to the environment and picking up trash, did you see Al Gore on Bill Maher last night?
Oh my God. Can I just, I know, meow. Can I just tell you that, well, I mean, there's a few elements there, okay? Can I just tell you that Al Gore, if you're listening, you got added to my list. After watching, I was like...
Is Tipper still around?
Yeah, but they got divorced. Oh. So that's why I'm like, are you single? I'm like, first off, I like older men. Secondly,
you can be the first lady.
Like, I had no idea that, I'm like, Al Gore is a straight up silver fox. I'm like, dude.
77 years old. Who would have thought? He's the perfect age to be president.
Right? Bringing up all these good points and also throwing jokes in there. Like, he had better jokes than Bill Maher. Like, I know that this is like Bill Maher's interview, but I feel like Al Gore is a fucking rock star right about now. That's why he got added to the list.
Imagine if you look at Tinder later and you've got like a match.
And it's Al Gore.
You and Al Gore have matched.
Oh my God.
Oh, come on the podcast, Mr. Gore.
Well, then I wouldn't have to, like right now I'm in the midst of working on my mail order bribes description that I'm, my ad that I'm going to put out. So if I was able to land me Al Gore, I wouldn't have to worry about that. Now, would I? I know. I'd be able to stay.
And we could be friends with Canada again.
I know. We'd get all our friends back. Yeah. We need to dump the narcissist. We get all our friends back.
So we didn't have a chance to mention this on the podcast because I think it was breaking news, either right before we recorded or right after that Pope Francis passed away. Very sad, very progressive Pope.
I know.
very, very an ally to all of our friends and stuff like that. And having my issues with the Catholic Church growing up in my family and the whole thing, and how I don't like the Catholic Church at all, but I really respected Pope Francis. He was a really great man.
So true. Like, I was baptized Catholic. I went to see the Pope when he came. It was when it was Pope John Paul II. Came to
You saw Pope?
Phoenix. Yeah, he was in his little Pope mobile and everything. He came to speak to Phoenix, like down at, was it at St. Mary's? I can't remember where it was, but it was, because I was like, I think 10 or 12 at the time, somewhere around that age range, you know. And yeah, the Catholic Church, I mean, I was raised in a really, really Catholic family, like very devout Catholic.
You went to Catholic school, right?
I went to Catholic school from grades kindergarten through 8th grade. My parents let me, like, because I did not like going to that's where I got bullied. Okay. And so I would tell them since the grade of like 2nd grade all the time, like, can I please go to the school with my neighbor friends go to? You know, because we lived in a neighborhood and they all went to public school, and my parents were like, no, you're staying at St. Jerome. When you get into high school, you can pick your own high school. You don't have to go to Catholic high school. So I didn't. I went to public, but I mean, I got off track a little bit there. But yeah, just growing up Catholic, and then when all the shit hit the fan about all the stuff that came out about the molestation and whatnot. Not that every religion is doing this. Every religion is fucking children. Right. Okay?
Well, I lived right in the heart of Boston at the time that news story broke. So I sort of knew about that for a long time. It was one of those things like when Bill Cosby, it came out about what he used to do. It's something that I had heard for years because I listened to a lot of comedians talk about it. You know, so you sort of always knew. So that was the thing when the story broke. To me, it was like, well, hey, not really a big news story. I thought everybody knew about this, or it was kind of just we knew.
So yeah, so getting to Pope Francis, I had so much respect for him because of all that. He was, I felt, the only pope who ever defrocked people who were molesting children and actually speaking out and saying that it was wrong. So it was, boy, this is hard to even talk. I loved Pope Francis. I loved him, but it had nothing to do with Catholicism or the religion. I just thought that he was a really beautiful person. And yeah, he's my favorite pope that we ever had. And I hope that this time, they pick someone who is at least half as good as him.
Yeah. And I didn't realize how humble he was because he didn't want the big gold throne. He had like a wooden chair. He wanted to wear the same shoes as everyone else.
That's another good one. Like, so I went to Panama for one of my birthday trips with my birthday bestie. We have the same birthday, so we go somewhere every year. The year that I went to Panama, on one of our excursions, we did like it's kind of like a shopping tour and history tour. So they tell you like fun facts about Panama's history and whatnot. And they take you to a couple of the churches. Well, they were in the process of building this church, this big, massive church. And like, so they had to import this special wood that I can't remember the type of lumber. The guy did tell us, but he's like, it's lumber that's good in humid climates, and it's only grown in wherever it was grown, and it's like got to be imported here. He's like, yeah, we're doing this because the Pope is coming to Panama this year for World Religion Day, right? They have this huge festival, right? And all I could think of, and they took us to a couple of their other churches where, like, you go in. Don't get me wrong, the churches are beautiful. There's statues in the churches that are like gold statues. And I'm like, I'm looking at this and I'm looking that they're spending all this money and they drive you like through the projects where people live and they live in poverty. And you're like, this is not what this Pope is about though. Like, have you guys not been paying attention? Like, he's always been out there totally talking about how he'd rather be with the poor and spend time with the poor than do this extravagant stuff.
Right.
So why are you wasting? You could be giving them food versus with your gold statues in your church and making this. Yeah. I don't think this big, massive church is going to impress him.
He would have gone to a wooden church in the projects.
Yeah.
And he would have valued that more.
Right. I mean, yes.
So, again, not a follower of, Catholicism or anything like that, but it is the spectacle of this, just watching the funerals or, the ceremonies when they bring in a new pope. I think that's fascinating to watch.
Now, well, the Vatican is very powerful. I mean, they have their own police force. Yeah. They've got their own.
Well, why didn't they stop J.D. Vance from shaking his hand?
Right.
Everything.
You know, like how they have all the guards, like you can't get so close to Putin because he's afraid that people are going to poison him at any time.
Like, did you see J.D. Vance with the national championship football trophy?
And he dropped it, broke it? Yeah.
Yeah. Everything J.D. Vance touches.
They're like, don't let this guy touch anything.
Dude, I made a joke on Threads, and I said, "Oh, Jeff Bezos donates to Trump. Trump sends J.D. Vance to meet the Pope. The Pope dies. Conclave debuts on Amazon Prime the next day. We got some social media attention from that."
Oh, right. Yeah. Of course, well, they probably put it out there too. I mean, they probably debuted it, on
purpose, yeah.
Because they probably wouldn't have debuted it
at that moment.
Yeah, but they did because the Pope
died. Straight to the Iron's heart, and then maybe people will learn what the process is of choosing a new Pope.
Or it will remind them that they need to go on Amazon and buy stuff. I'm trying to look at it from Bezos' point of view.
Buy a Pope.
Hey, we're the ones putting this out there.
Buy your Pope Francis t-shirts.
Right? Yeah. Get your memorabilia.
And, of course, dignitaries from all over the world attend these things. And I thought Joe and Joe Biden had gone on it. Zelensky was there. And, of course, our guy has to go, too. And everybody, they show him staying next to everybody else. And they did, I don't know where he sat, but everyone else is wearing black suits. Melania's in the black dress and a veil, and Donald Trump's there with his blue suit and red tie. Just, as Fat Albert would say, who's the little guy from Fat Albert, the one character there, like, "Your school in the summertime, no class."
He is no class. So I think maybe it was perfect that he showed up like that. I mean, it's like, and just clueless.
Yeah. And I did see, though, one thing that hopefully would be good about this is I did see a picture of Trump sitting down with Zelensky before the funeral, and it looked like they were having a discussion. And it was that moment where it wasn't in front of the cameras, so Trump didn't do what he did at the White House.
Do you think it was one of those Bill Maher moments where it's like, oh, he's a totally different person, though.
Yeah.
If you just like talk to him off the cuff,
You think,
like he's a romantic. Oh my goodness, he's not like that.
You think Zelensky's is going to go on and do his podcast, or you know what I mean, and then be like, he's actually a nice person. He's got jokes.
I understand exactly what you're talking about, Bill Maher.
And I was able to tell him exactly what I thought about him.
Right.
All right, so know the game. Zelensky or Al Gore?
Oh, I'm going Gore.
Okay.
I'm full on board.
Yeah.
I think he's already shot up to number 1 on that list.
Okay.
Right now. I mean.
Okay. Well, hopefully, Pope Francis hopefully, got Trump to listen to Zelensky. And my thought yesterday when I knew Trump was going, and I was hoping they'd give him a bad seat behind Joe Biden. I don't know if that actually happened, but I was thinking, sweet baby Jesus, please, baby Jesus.
In your little cradle, baby Jesus.
In your little cradle, baby Jesus.
This is sounding very Talladega Nights.
Yes, that's the point of this. Is baby Jesus, please, while the funeral is going on and they're giving, they're all chanting and they're giving their speeches, you hear this thump in the back, and it was just Trump, like, it's a big one, Elizabeth. And he just falls over.
They're coming to get me.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
And you know what Trump would do?
I don't want to wish that on him.
No,
I
no,
don't.
because that would be making this funeral about himself.
Yeah, he would go and like one up the Trump or one up the Pope.
You could totally see him doing that, just flopping over and like, this is a big one, Elizabeth, and falling over.
He would Trump the Pope.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then he'd get up and be like, I've been resurrected, and raise his hand, fight, fight, fight. And then Joel Osteen would nominate him to be the next pope.
Right. Yeah, we don't want that.
No, we don't want.
As much as I would love to like get rid of him in America, because then he'd have to go to the Vatican, but it's like we can't just go dumping our trash on another nation.
I know, as Al Gore would say, we need to protect the planet.
Yeah,
it was Earth Day this week.
I know, like, that's another thing. Don't even get me started on how, like, all the weird weather. I'm like, Earth's pissed. Planet don't feel good. She's like, I'm tired of you humans, It's like she has a parasite and we're the parasites, She's got COVID and we're the COVID.
I've always said that. I always use the analogy that the Earth itself is living entirely. The planet itself is a living organism, and we're like a virus or like a tick, and the Earth is just trying to shake us off.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I've said for years too, when are we going to finally realize that we all live in the same house?
Yeah. We're not kidding.
Earth is our home. We all live here. We might have separate houses, but we all live together.
We're not Katy Perry. We can't fly off somewhere and go somewhere else.
Was she one of them that got to go on the rocket?
Yeah.
Okay. I knew it was like a all-woman thing.
Yeah,
but
Gail King and a couple others.
Okay. I
mean, I'm not going to give them shit for doing that. Whatever. If you can afford it.
I know. Well, I mean, if you were invited, you would go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just like I'd go if Trump invited me to dinner, I'd go.
I would fucking go even if I had to go and Trump was on the ship too. I'd still go.
Well, that ship's being protected then.
I mean, well, yeah, you'd know that, but I mean, I would sit totally cross-legged the whole time with something over my crotch too, protecting myself. but I would go.
You would want to be alone with the president in a dick-shaped fucking space rocket.
Just to see the curvature of the Earth. Yes, I would.
Just to see the curvature there.
Just to see it. Just so I could say, y'all, I've actually fucking witnessed it with my own two eyes. You know, the thing that Mark Kelly has always talked about, seeing the beautiful curvature of the Earth, beautiful round Earth. I would like to see that for myself.
Get out of here with that round Earth
I
shit.
would love to see that for myself.
You wouldn't want to go up and see it as flat as this table. Dude, but then back to reality. Oops, there goes gravity. Back
to life. Back to reality.
Dude, now we're arresting judges.
I guess so. I guess that's where we're at nowadays.
Yes. Wisconsin, Hannah Dugan was arrested for pretty much trying to stop ICE. Allegedly, because we don't know her motives. We don't know if she tried to do this, but she did not want ICE to be able to go into certain areas of the court building on it, and so they could apprehend someone that was appearing before her. To the best of my ability, that's the story that I know. I don't know. I mean, just
how do you just arrest someone though? Like, how do you just arrest a judge out of that? Like,
yeah, well,
how they did it. They did it for show. Like, I'm sure he did it because he's like, okay, we need to look tough to all these incels that think that we're tough and, like, you know, they're,
You do a pretty good Elon.
Oh, I was trying to do Trump, too. I know, but you know what? I'm, like, so afraid to even attempt my Trump anymore because
Jail.
Once you see the best, of course, he's the best at Elon, too. Like, I can't do anything now. I have to just say it in normal snow voice.
Yeah. You always got Bernie Sanders.
Oh, I bet you JL could do Bernie Sanders, too. There's no one he can't do.
So now we're arresting judges, and now Pam Bondi is saying that if you defy any of Trump's orders, then we're going to convict you too. But what about all this shit when Biden tried to get anything done and there'd be some Second Circuit court judge from fucking Louisiana to block anything Biden tried to do? Right?
You sure it wasn't Texas? Because
I just used Louisiana as a...
But I mean, they purposely have all those judges like in Texas to block, and that's why they send the cases there so that they can get the ruling that they want.
Yeah, so
they purposely do that.
So
like the Court of Appeals, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that a lot of them are located like in Texas for that reason. Like, these people aren't stupid. I mean, you gotta hand it to them. It's like they have figured out every fucking loophole.
They know how to play the game.
What gets me is like our local morons here sitting there talking about how, you know, people around here are gaming the system. Like, these women are having 8 children, and it's always 8. The number's always 8. You ever notice that? They're like, oh, that bitch has 8 kids.
Because 8 is enough.
Right? I think that must be where they get it from. She has 8 kids, and she's gonna get pregnant with more so she can have more babies and get more money and blah, blah, blah. Why is it that they're always like, they understand that kind of gaming the system? Because I'm not saying that some of that does, that like they're not somewhat. I've known people who do have children, more children. I don't know if that's the only reason that they're having more children, but I know people who do that and brag about the money that they get back. I have known people like that. Okay, it's a very small majority of people, like less than 1%, all right, that do that I personally know. They act like it's like every 5th person out on the street is doing that. But it's like, how are they able to recognize like the fraud and the abuse in that situation, but they can't, it doesn't even cross their mind about billionaires who game the system and look for every loophole. Well, that never crosses their mind.
Because if you point over there, then you can't notice what we're doing over here.
Like, why don't you like have panoramic vision where you're seeing it all? Yeah. I mean, because I do have that vision they're talking about. However, I just think that that's less than what is actually happening. Like, it's a very low percentage. And it's a very low amount of money compared to, like, I don't know, all the subsidies that Elon Musk gets.
You know, I mean, that goes back to pedophiles, because they're like, you're pedophiles, you're pedophiles, you're pedophiles. But 99 times out of 100 with these scandals that involve a politician, it's a Republican.
Right? Having sex in the bathroom with people. Yeah. The one guy that went to prison, Hastert.
Yeah.
Dennis Hastert. There you go. You guys get to claim that one. Matt Gaetz. You get to claim that one. He's on your side too.
And the other thing, though, going back to the welfare thing, though, but now aren't they offering a $5,000 tax break for white women to have babies?
How is that not welfare?
No.
Answer me that, though. How is that not welfare? By the definition of welfare.
It is. I mean, that $5,000 won't go far when you have medical expenses for having a child, food, clothing on the child, giving the child a place to live, education.
So how is that not telling these folks that, yes, even that $5,000 where it seems like a huge amount of money to a normal person, they're even telling you that it is not shit. If they're willing to give you that away, that's like them giving you $5, stupid. Like, I just want people to wake the fuck up. Okay, here's another point. The subsidies that Elon Musk gets. With that amount of money, how many people do you think that could feed? The amount of money that motherfucker gets.
Why a few?
Do you think we'd even have hunger as a problem in our country?
It would be significantly reduced.
It would, right. It would at least be where you would be able to see the change in it, the betterment in it. Right?
Yeah. But meanwhile, you're closing food banks, or kind of funding, I should say, for food banks. Not the food banks themselves, not closing. The funding for these food banks is going away because it's government waste.
Right, yeah. Feeding hungry people is government waste. But let's give this billionaire who was born in South Africa, by the way, let's give him all this money because he's shooting rockets into space.
And to wrap this all the way back, what would Jesus want us to do?
What would Jesus do?
Jesus would want you to feed the poor. Jesus would want you to take in refugees.
Jesus would want you to heal the sick.
Jesus would want you to love everybody.
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 Yeah. And we'll end it on this. There really hasn't been much change in the Juan Garcia Abrego case. He's still in El Salvador. A senator did go in there and did get to meet with him. And there's just so much flip-flopping. And I think we'll touch more on this in our episode in the near future, about, you have to have due process.
MJ, I hear sirens.
They're coming for us.
It means that somebody tried something in a small town.
Maybe they hung a flag upside down somewhere. So I don't know. I mean, did this guy have a squeaky clean record? No. May he have done stuff in his past? No. Was he in this country? Did he come here illegally? Yes. Did he have the paperwork to stay in the country eventually? Yes, under the Trump administration.
Did he get protection status under a Trump-appointed judge?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, he did. He came here because the gangs were trying to
They were
take him.
They were shaking down his family's business.
Right, because his mother made pupusas, which was it's like a traditional El Salvadoran dish. Like it's kind of like a tortilla, I guess, like a thicker tortilla or whatnot. And they became very popular. So the gangs there were trying to go extort them for money, and then they were going to try to steal their son,
which was a rival gang of MS-13.
So it's not even the right gang. No, they're trying to say he's MS-13.
They're trying to say he's MS-13, but the gang that was shaking down his family was the rival gang of MS-13.
And trying to steal him.
Correct.
Okay.
So this is how they're connecting him to MS-13. Now, whether he was, whether he wasn't, I don't know. He has tattoos that may or may not link you to, but you can't arrest somebody on a tattoo.
You know how you're going to find out if he was and if he committed crimes? It's called through our legal system.
Due process.
Through due process. Yeah, that's how you're going to find out. And here's the thing. If you can prove in a court of law that he is a criminal and whatnot and has no right to be here, then that's fine. But you haven't done that. There is no proof.
Right.
He needs to have due process.
And they keep on flip-flopping on why they did it and the reasons, but everyone, it's in the Constitution. It does not say that you have to have legal status to be protected under the law in this country.
No, it is for everyone.
It says that every person. Every person.
It already happens though. Okay, so what a lot of folks don't understand, if somebody comes here to the country and they commit a crime, they get tried before the Trump administration came along in his second term. I think he was even doing this, it was still happening under his first term, okay? That's the craziest part of all of this. They get a trial by jury, they go to prison, and then when their sentence is up, do you know what happens to them? They get deported if they need to leave. If they shouldn't be here, they serve their time, then they get deported. It already happens.
Right.
It's called the justice system.
And one reason that they gave was, well, there's too many people and that the system takes too long. Then you change the process through Congress, you rewrite the laws through Congress, and then you follow the Constitution and the law when you do these things. Okay?
Sitting there saying that there's too many people coming from the party that's all about reproducing is just mind-blowing to me. What did they think? Yeah, we're going to end up with more and more people all the time.
You think with a
That's kind of how it works.
You think with a name like Snow, you would know the answer to that? It's white people we need more of. They will not replace us.
Oh God,
Jesus Christ! So yeah,
I mean that's way off topic.
Yeah,
on that one.
That's a lot to cover in one episode.
No, but it's just like the world is constantly growing because, I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that that's what's going to happen. But right. I'm just, it's it's stuff like that that has me speechless at times because I'm like, am I really hearing such a dumb argument?
Yeah. Well, we'll end it on this. Speaking of arguments, I know that or you in particular more than me, have talked shit about Andrew Shultz lately.
No.
But our old buddy, Pete Buttigieg, kind of schooled him on his old podcast this week.
My biggest problem with Andrew Shultz is his look. I'm like, I can't get past. Every time I see
That
his
mustache.
face, I see Matt Dillon in There's Something About Mary. I can't. It looks like the same fucking person. It's the mustache and the hair. And the big teeth. Remember when she's talking about, I would like a guy with big teeth, and then he goes and gets all those cats. And Andrew Schultz those are his natural teeth.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why Andrew had Pete on his podcast, but...
Hey, no, it's great that he had Pete on his podcast.
No, it is.
And I'm not doing the thing where I'm like, oh, because they schooled a con short for conservative. But if we're saying libs, the first three of yours are con, so cons.
Right.
Okay, just to explain.
I mean, it has nothing to do with conviction.
Yeah. It has nothing to do with convicts.
It has nothing to do with,
It's just basically for your consideration.
Yeah.
That, con. So, anyways, I think that it is great that you also are willing to have people that you don't agree with on your podcast. And as a lib myself, I enjoyed watching you nervously twirl and twist the edges of your mustache.
Like Snidely with
when you were nervous, you were like, and you were sitting there listening to Pete Buttigieg so gracefully.
Right. And it was about cell phones.
And
it was about cell phones. And Pete goes, hey, do you notice that if I even mention the word cell phone, you're going to pick it up and you're going to start touching your cell phone? And do you think government could come up with an innovation like the iPhone? And they all, no, government couldn't do that. He goes, well, the funny thing is, the reason that makes this so powerful is the internet, which was a federally funded program to discover, because as Al Gore said last night, Al Gore had a big part of making that project happening and getting the funding to have something that was going on in, I believe, the Pentagon. Mm-hmm. With a government office and the interconnected computers that was going on there. And they had this idea, well, hey, what if we spread this across the world and we could connect all these computers across the world? And Pete was brilliantly said, it's that technology that led to the iPhone.
That's right. And that's because it was discussed on Bill Maher's show too, where a lot of folks had said that Al Gore had invented the internet when he had said that, right? Because when he was on Bill Maher's show, he did say, he goes, I actually never said that. I actually never said that I invented the internet. But then this is what happened. And then he explained exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
So he's like, so he got a bad rap for that, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I fell into the trap. I was only like 20-something at the time. And I was like, that's kind of crazy for him to run around saying he invented the internet. I mean, come on. Dumb 21-year-old at the time. Yeah. So forgive me, Al, if you're listening. Forgive me. I was very dumb back then.
This is the stuff. This is the funding that Doge thinks is government waste, is programs like this that are doing this kind of research that lead to things that change the world.
Doesn't he have like computer stuff in his cars, in his Tesla cars?
Okay, Now,
And he's trying to say this is like wasteful.
Now, in Elon's defense, sort of. I know everybody says he's a genius, but is he really?
No.
Or does he just invest in the right things?
Yes. He's a smart investor. I'll give him that.
Yeah. So
it's kind of like what I say with Donald Trump. Is Donald Trump a smart person? Yeah. No, he is not. But you know what he is? He is very good and skilled at being a master manipulator. He is very good at the art of manipulation.
Right. And you get taught that. You get taught that, like, if you want to have anyone believe something, just keep on saying it like 3 times.
Repeating it over. Those are all business tactics. So yes, he is a businessman, but he's good at that because he's a manipulator.
Do you think Elon's going to have to go on RFK's autism registry list?
Or at least some sort of study? Will RFK be sitting there, like, watching Elon and taking notes?
And decapitating a whale's head and strapping it to the roof of your car does seem like autistic behavior. No offense to autistic people. But most autistic people, I don't think, would cut off a whale head.
I don't think they would either.
Or pick up a dead bear off the road and throw it in your trunk.
Don't you think that's more like...
That's sociopathic.
I go straight psychopathic. I was like, don't you think that's like psychopathic / sociopathic? Because they're kind of the same thing.
Shouldn't those people be put on a registry?
I know, because isn't it true that, like, serial killers, like, the one thing they have in common is they all did harm to animals?
Right.
When they were, like...
When they were little.
Before they graduated to killing people. So everybody...
Could you imagine...
Oh, my God, Cheryl Hines. Be careful. You're probably the closest to RFK, right? Is she still married to him?
All right, so if RFK Jr. is getting to, like, the crazy shit with animals at this point of his life, what kind of horrific stuff did he do as a kid?
Maybe it's like the craziness of being a Kennedy, though. I mean, like, that family has a fucking curse against them. I mean... I still will never get over the fact that JFK Jr. died. I mean, like, what a beautiful human being. Just to look at, you're just like, that is one good-looking human being. I mean, hello.
God, I remember that day. I remember the day his plane went down.
Oh, my God. It was sad. Like, the lady I worked with started smoking again when JFK Jr. died. Like, it was that stressful to her. Like, she's, like, a huge Kennedy fan anyways, like, growing up with the Kennedys and everything.
I guess I'll end it with this. You remember Don Henley had a lot to do with Walden Woods, a project to save, a area of Massachusetts, clean up an area. So... Someone done.
Is Don Henley from Massachusetts?
No, but he was heavily involved in this project as was the Kennedys. So I had a friend who was a DJ at a radio station in Boston, and it's like an exclusive event. I don't even know if you could buy tickets for it or if it was a private one. But anyway, my DJ friend got me into this show in Boston, and I'm sitting down front. And I'm surrounded by Shrivers and Kennedys, God, like RFK was probably there.
Was Arnold there?
No, Arnold wasn't. I think Maria Shriver's mom was at the time.
Okay.
But I remember, like, looking at these faces of all these famous people. I'm like going, oh yeah, I know that person. Just like... You're just seeing these famous faces around you. Like, I know. And I'm sitting amongst them, and they're looking at me like, who's this?
Who is this guy?
Well, 30 years later, little do they know MJ from the Reality Damage podcast was singing in their midst.
I was sitting amongst the Kennedys.
Yes, I was sitting with the Kennedys. I felt pretty privileged that day. That friend always hooked me up at a show. I got into another show. It was Fuel and Train. And he gets me in.
Oh my God, I love Train. Oh.
He gets me in, and I'm like maybe 8 rows back, 9 rows back. And I turn around just to look back at the crowd. And Ben Affleck and Matt Damon are sitting right behind me. I'm like, I got better seats than Ben Affleck and Matt Damon.
I would have fainted because, Ben's still on my list. Always will be on there. Always will be.
I was kind of just like, this was probably not too long after Good Will Hunting. And I just looked back and I was just like, I don't want to acknowledge him. You know what I mean? I just looked back.
You know what you should have done? I have the perfect
Hey, I'm MJ from the Reality Damage podcast.
No, you should have stood up in your seat, turned around, looked him straight in the eye, and said, "How do you like them apples?" I'm like a nobody, and I have better seats than y'all.
Well, then they wouldn't put me in Good Will Hunting 2.
How can they do Good Will Hunting 2 without Robin Williams?
It was a joke.
They will never be able to do it. No, I was so happy when Robin Williams won Best Supporting Actor for his performance. He was my favorite character in that movie. Like, he was absolutely fucking brilliant. I love the part when he went off on him when he's like, he's telling him, like, you think you're so great. He goes, have you ever actually gone over to Rome and looked at the Sistine Chapel and all of its glory? But you think you know everything, Like, going off on him. Those aren't the exact lines. I haven't seen Good Will Hunting in a long time, but I will never forget that part.
Well, me upstaging Ben Affleck and Matt Damon's probably why I didn't get in Dogma.
Oh, yeah.
I missed my opportunity to meet George Carlin.
And the other best part when he's like, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. And he kept doing that to him until he got until Will got all like, fuck you, man. Like, he's like, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. I'm like, that right there, that's the one thing that makes me want to be a therapist. That right there. I'm like the power, just a one statement like that, that could really finally break through to somebody, and be like, okay, I'm helping you here. I'm really helping you.
Yeah. It's not your fault.
Not your fault.
And all you have is, you're not my type.
You're not my type.
On that note, we're going to wrap this one up, and we will see you next time.
Our audience, you're all my type. Bye, y'all. Love you.